Imagine a force so subtle yet so potent it could sway the fate of empires without a single sword clash. It's a whisper in the wind, a rumble from the earth, a sound unheard yet deeply felt, capable of commanding the very hearts and minds of a populace. This is not the stuff of science fiction, but a chilling hypothesis whispered through the annals of history, a forgotten chapter from the heart of the ancient world. Could ancient Rome, a civilization renowned for its engineering marvels, its strategic prowess, and its unparalleled dominance, have wielded such an invisible weapon? Could the very fabric of its sprawling city have been designed to emit a silent scream, a lost sonic control that shaped its destiny and enforced a forbidden, almost unimaginable psychological warfare? Welcome to Echoes of Time, your portal to the forgotten pages of history, where we dare to ask the questions that challenge our most fundamental understanding of the past. Today, we delve into the city's silent scream, uncovering tantalizing clues about Rome's lost sonic control and the whispers of a darker, more sophisticated form of dominance than conventional history has ever dared to acknowledge. For centuries, our history books have meticulously detailed the grandeur of Roman legions, the brutal spectacle of gladiatorial arenas, the intricate political machinations, and the architectural wonders that have stood the test of time. We marvel at the aqueducts that carried life-giving water across vast distances, the roads that connected an empire, and the amphitheatres that hosted thousands. Yet, beneath this well-established narrative of physical might and conquest, a lesser-known, far more unsettling story suggests the Romans possessed an altogether different kind of control. It's a narrative not of visible strength, but of unseen influence, a psychological grip exerted without a single legionary marching or a single sword drawn. This obscure narrative begins with tantalizing hints from ancient texts, not explicit blueprints for sonic weaponry, but suggestive references that, when viewed through a modern lens, take on a chilling significance. These texts speak of architects designing public spaces with peculiar acoustic properties, structures whose very form seemed to manipulate sound in ways that defy simple explanation. Why would the engineers of Rome, whose practical genius was legendary, devote such meticulous attention to the sonic characteristics of their public squares, their forums, their great halls? What purpose did these seemingly anomalous design choices serve, beyond mere aesthetic or functional acoustics? The very idea challenges our conventional understanding of their priorities, pushing us to consider a hidden agenda behind their urban planning. Further fuel to this historical fire comes from discoveries made beneath the very foundations of Rome itself. Scholars have long debated the true purpose of specific resonant chambers, mysterious subterranean spaces found beneath temples, civic buildings, and even the colossal amphitheatres. These chambers, often overlooked or dismissed as structural necessities, exhibit properties that suggest a deliberate manipulation of sound. Were they mere drainage systems, storage areas, or forgotten cult sites? Or could their true function have been far more sinister, far more profound, designed to harness and direct sonic energy in ways we are only now beginning to contemplate? The very presence of these chambers challenges our conventional understanding of Roman engineering, pushing us to reconsider capabilities that extend far beyond what we typically attribute to the ancient world. They are silent witnesses, patiently awaiting the questions that might unlock their true, unsettling secret, echoing a past far more complex than we imagine. The narrative deepens with obscure Roman accounts mentioning unsettling sounds from the earth preceding moments of profound civil unrest. Imagine the terror, a deep, resonant rumble, an unnerving vibration emanating not from seismic activity, but from an unknown source, coinciding with burgeoning rebellion or widespread public discontent. These weren't isolated incidents, but patterns reported across centuries, recurring during critical junctures when the city was most vulnerable. Alongside these mysterious sounds, the accounts also describe unexplained mass hysteria that gripped the city, periods when entire populations seemed to succumb to collective panic, fear, or even irrational elation without any immediately discernible cause. These events, often dismissed by later historians as mere superstition, natural phenomena like earthquakes, or outbreaks of widespread disease, never quite fit neatly into conventional explanations. The consistency of the patterns, the uncanny timing, the profound impact on public order, these elements collectively paint a picture that demands a deeper, more daring inquiry. What if these were not random occurrences, but orchestrated events? What if the city's silent scream was not an accident, but a calculated weapon? For generations, these anomalies have been the subject of intense, albeit often sidelined, scholarly debate. The prevailing theories, while attempting to provide rational explanations, consistently fall short of fully explaining the observed patterns. Seismic activity might account for some sounds from the earth, but not their precise timing with civil unrest, nor the often reported absence of physical destruction that would accompany significant tremors. Widespread disease could induce mass hysteria, but it rarely accounts for the sudden onset or the seemingly synchronized nature of such events across large, diverse populations, often without the expected preceding symptoms or vectors of contagion. These dismissals, though rooted in a desire for empirical evidence, often overlook the possibility of a deliberately suppressed or simply forgotten form of ancient knowledge. What if the answers lie not in natural forces, but in a technological understanding far beyond what we conventionally assign to the Roman Empire, a knowledge whose true danger led to its deliberate erasure? This quest for answers has led researchers down several intriguing, often speculative paths, each more challenging to our accepted historical narrative than the last. One compelling hypothesis posits that Roman engineers, far from being mere pragmatic builders, possessed a profound, almost mystical understanding of acoustics, perhaps leveraging principles akin to forgotten Pythagorean acoustics. The ancient Greek philosopher Pythagoras and his followers were known for their deep exploration of sound, harmony, and mathematics, believing that numerical ratios governed not only music, but the very fabric of the cosmos, influencing everything from physical matter to human emotion. If the Romans had access to, or independently developed, similar knowledge, they might have understood how specific frequencies carefully generated and directed within these peculiar public spaces, or resonant chambers, could induce powerful, predetermined states in the human mind. Imagine a frequency tuned to instill profound fear, capable of quelling dissent and scattering rebellious crowds without a single blow. Envision another frequency designed to cultivate absolute obedience, creating a compliant populace receptive to imperial decrees. Or even more chillingly, consider frequencies engineered to evoke ecstatic devotion, fostering an unshakable loyalty to the emperor or the state, transforming civic gatherings into a form of collective, controlled spiritual fervor. The implications of such knowledge are staggering, suggesting a form of behavioral control that makes traditional propaganda seem crude by comparison, an unseen hand guiding the thoughts and feelings of millions. A second perspective argues for a more overt yet equally insidious use of sound, a rudimentary form of psychological warfare deployed not necessarily against the Roman populace directly, but against external enemies or internal dissenters. This theory suggests the use of specialized instruments, perhaps sonic devices unlike any we typically imagine, or sophisticated methods of controlling environmental sounds to demoralize enemies during sieges, before battles, or to subdue rebellious factions. Picture a Roman encampment or a city wall under assault, emanating not the clang of swords and the roar of catapults, but an unnerving, low-frequency hum, a cacophony designed to erode morale, induce unease, and shatter the resolve of those targeted. Imagine the chilling effect of sustained, subliminal sonic assaults on besieged populations, slowly but surely stripping away their will to resist, causing paranoia and internal collapse. The psychological impact of such a weapon could be devastating, turning the enemy's own fears against them, sowing discord and desperation without ever engaging in direct combat. This would represent a profound strategic advantage, an invisible weapon that could tilt the balance of power in favor of an empire, always seeking new ways to assert its dominance. A secret weapon whose existence could redefine the very nature of ancient conflict. Then there is a third, more esoteric theory, one that pushes the boundaries of conventional archaeology and history to their very limits. This perspective suggests a connection to advanced, non-terrestrial knowledge, hinting at technologies far beyond what we typically attribute to the ancient world. This theory posits that the Romans, or perhaps an earlier, forgotten civilization from which they inherited knowledge, somehow came into contact or gained access to an understanding of sound manipulation that was not of this earth, or at least not of human origin as we currently comprehend it. Such a possibility paints a truly astonishing picture, an ancient Rome leveraging technologies that could only be described as futuristic, utilizing sonic principles that defy our modern scientific understanding, perhaps even involving devices that could generate specific fields or resonances with targeted effects. Proponents of this theory argue that such immensely dangerous potential would inevitably lead to its suppression or deliberate erasure from official records. Imagine the sheer power of such a technology, a tool so potent, so transformative, that its very existence could destabilize society, challenge existing power structures, and rewrite the rules of warfare and governance. The deliberate burying of such knowledge, its reduction to mere legend or superstition, would be a chillingly logical act of self-preservation, ensuring that such a silent scream could never again be unleashed upon an unsuspecting world. These profound debates challenge our very understanding of ancient power dynamics. They compel us to reconsider what was truly possible in an age often underestimated for its technological and intellectual sophistication. We often assume that ancient civilizations were limited by their apparent lack of advanced machinery, overlooking the possibility that their understanding of natural principles, their mastery of physics, or even their spiritual insights may have enabled them to achieve feats that appear miraculous or impossible through our modern industrialized lens. The Roman Empire, a society capable of building wonders that stand 2 millennia later, a society that perfected the art of governance and warfare, might very well have possessed secrets that continue to elude us, secrets that hold the key to a darker, more sophisticated form of control. The implications, if any of these theories hold true, are profound and unsettling. If ancient Rome's silent scream wasn't just a metaphor for its overwhelming power, but a literal, almost unimaginable tool of control, then our entire perception of historical power structures, of human susceptibility, and of the true capabilities of ancient civilizations must be fundamentally reevaluated. Such knowledge would represent not just a forgotten technology, but a lost chapter in the history of human manipulation, a chilling testament to the lengths to which power will go to maintain its grip. But was this knowledge deliberately buried, deemed too dangerous for humanity to wield? Or did it simply fade into legend, lost to the relentless currents of time, misinterpreted by later generations who lacked the context or the conceptual framework to understand its true nature? The answers, like so many of history's greatest enigmas, remain stubbornly elusive. Yet, the questions themselves open a fascinating window into history's hidden corridors, inviting us to look beyond the conventional, to listen for the echoes of secrets that lie under the dust of centuries. They urge us to delve into the past, not just to admire its triumphs, but to uncover its deepest mysteries, to better understand the true scope of human potential, and perhaps to better understand the ever-present mechanisms of power that continue to shape our world. What other untold stories, what other forgotten pages of history are waiting to reveal their secrets, challenging everything we thought we knew?